Do you find responsibilities in work, family, and health too overwhelming to handle? Welcome to Health, Wealth, and Relationships, Thriving in the Balancing Act. Join physical therapist and relationship consultant Dr. Gina Williams in building stronger connections, advancing your career, and elevating your overall well-being. Here you'll find practical tips, inspiring stories, and actionable strategies for living a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today's guest is Amy Nubson, an entrepreneur and a business coach. Amy will share her story of how she went from struggling to overcoming loss, financial stress, and cracks in her foundation to thriving stronger than ever. During those difficult times, she developed a method of rebranding herself using, she calls it, the 3 C's: clarity, courage, and confidence. To succeed in life, we need to be clear about who we are and what we want, have the courage to take action, and even when we are scared, be confident, show up for ourselves no matter what. We all are powerful women, and it's time to lead our lives with purpose so we can impact the world in a way that inspires us. Welcome to the podcast, Amy. Happy to have you here. Pleasure to have you share your challenges and your successes. So, Amy, your journey involves navigating a lot of challenges. How did you maintain your physical health or incorporating movement into your routine to help you stay resilient through periods of loss or stress?
Yeah, it was actually a huge component of getting through the trauma, of everything kind of crumbling around me. And I was like, what can I take control of? But now there are so many things I can't, but I can take control of myself. And so that's what I did. I was like, if I can just start exercising, if I can just start losing weight and feeling better about myself and getting energy back, that's what I did. And it was a moment when I lost the most weight too, naturally. And I was like, this is fantastic. I feel great. I have mental clarity. I have, so I could get through some of the chaos that was happening around me because my brain was functioning ultimately at a good place. And okay, this is how I'm going to do this. And it was important. And I still remember those moments going, and what was the worst part too is my husband was not mobile. He was laying in bed injured. And I'm like, let's go out dancing. I had all this extra energy. I was the only negative giver. I'm like, I want to go and do something. Oh,
yes, and no partner. Yes. Oh boy. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, your background, your history, and some of the challenges for yourself and when what happened with your husband.
Yeah. So for me and my husband started a business, 2007. And so we've been in business together for quite a long time. I started off as a graphic designer. I love design. I love color. I love helping people create something beautiful. And our careers have evolved from there to now I'm a business coach, but it's been a long journey to get there. But for me, it was really about that moment where you think everything's going well, even though there's heartache, there's challenges, you're like, oh, it can't get any worse than this. And then it does. And all it took for me was a phone call. It was an ambulance calling me and they're like, we have your husband. He's in the ambulance. We're taking him to the hospital. Don't worry. You can come and get him. And I'm like, that's how I woke up.
That's a call nobody wants.
No. And actually, ironically,
it's like a nightmare.
Yeah, and that's the second time I've had this call with my husband. The first time was back in college when a police officer came to the door and he goes, your husband's been involved in an accident. Here's his bike. He was on a bicycle and it was mangled. And he's like, don't worry, he's okay. And I'm like, okay, wow. This is happening again. This is
deja vu. I'm getting chills. It's crazy.
And I'm like, you'll never get this one call. I did twice.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so I go and get him, and he's not good. He was a car in the middle that was sandwiched between 2 cars, and he took all of the attention and friction and the energy between 2 cars. And should have been simple, small accident. left him not working, left him with a brain injury, left him trapped with all of our knowledge of how to produce the work inside his brain for months and years. So I had to reinvent myself after losing everything, being denied medical insurance, being 6 figures in medical debt within 6 months. Going, what do I do? How do I survive this? And I had to figure out a different way to survive. And it was my husband had just released a children's book. And he doesn't think that this book was successful at all. And I'm like, you don't know because you were out of it. The only way we survived was selling this children's book.
Wow.
And that's what paid my mortgage. That's what paid the food. Nothing
Amazing.
else.
The timing of everything.
Yes. And that's what I went all in. I'm like, okay, I can't do anything else. I can do this. And I was super good at it. And I'm like, that's what taught me to do too. Like when you focus on a singular path, you're like, you're all in on it. Like you make it happen.
Yes.
there's no, you're not saying this. You're like, I have to sell this many books this week. Like that is, you're going to do it.
Yeah, no other option.
Yeah. And that's how I learned myself, like I can do anything I put my mind to it. And though sometimes we still need those reminders of the little hiccups to be like, remember you can do this. Like now that's how I see them as like reminders. Like, you can fight for this. You can do this. You're capable of doing it.
So you're really resilient. I mean, and as transitioning into a coach, you've been there, done that, and would be the perfect person to help and guide someone through their challenges because you know how it feels and the steps to do to get on the other side.
Exactly. You have to stop making those excuses, to yourself. It's not to anybody else, it's to yourself. And I remember being in my office one morning and I just couldn't go home. I was so broken after the accident and all the pain and the things that were going on. I was broken and I sat and cried for hours. And I watched the beautiful snow come down and dance and I was like, they're so pretty. I didn't want to go home. Like, but in that moment I was like, how did I get here? What am I going to own? What am I going to need to let go? And how am I moving forward? It was that moment just sitting there watching the snow fall and dance around me going, it's like a clear slate. The first snowstorm is so beautiful. It's just that nice, beautiful white snow. It covers up all the dead leaves. And that's when I realized I want more being a marketer. I want more than being the background. I was the perfect person at hiding when I was in high school. I like perfected it. But to the point where people like, you graduated with me? I'm like, no. Some people are like, I remember you. I'm like, I know. So good at it. Marketing was my way of having a career in hiding. I got to hide behind other people's brands. I got to hide behind other people's successes. And they're like, oh my God. I had one guy who was like, they're like, John's amazing. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching the room. I'm the magic
doing
playing
all the deals and making other people, shine because of your skills.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm done. What can I do? What's my voice? So I had to rediscover all of that through all the chaos. I had to figure out what was my voice and what was I passionate about. I'd lost all that. And I hadn't even realized it. And part of my health was a part of it. Like my confidence started growing as I started losing weight. As I started feeling better about myself, my confidence grew. And I'm like, okay, confidence is a journey. And every little thing we do to support ourselves grows our confidence.
Yes, that's important. And that helps us push forward and do more.
Yes. And then it allows us to do a little bit more, something a little more scary. Each time you're like, okay, I'm going out of my comfort zone.
Haven't been here before, someplace new. Yes. Okay, I'm here. Let's see how that feels.
Exactly. To the point where we went to Europe for 4 months and lived there and worked there. We went to Portugal and it was fascinating being a person who knew none of the language. I don't know what people are saying around me.
Just throwing yourself in that environment.
Yeah, and going, I hope somebody can speak English.
That's so brave.
And it was such a fun experience. And it gave me great empathy too for the people that come here or wherever you are when you don't speak the language or you are. There's a universal language of kindness. And, that still exists in the world. And I was privileged to see that.
Hmm.
And and I love that. And that's why I travel because I want to see how people live. I don't care about the city and the attractions. I love to see how people live and experience what are the cultural norms. How do people express kindness? How do they express, just everyday communication, body language? It's to me
Yes.
fascinating to see.
Yeah, I agree. I love travel. I love people watching. I love the differences in culture, food, even the way, we move and do things, even greetings, greetings in some cultures that may be acceptable, like I'm gonna guess may be seen as rude or too abrupt in others. And it's so fascinating, the differences.
And like you said, movement. It's really interesting to see movement change where you are. And because my husband has a pelvic issue, I've had a pelvic issue. Now I watch people walk.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm not even a physical therapist, but I'm like, ooh, they really should go get help. Like it's like so obvious
Yes.
to me now.
Wow.
Where before I'd had no reference of that.
Wow, you have a new perspective on things in your
Yeah.
observations. It's more detailed.
Yes. And you can start seeing, like, and you also, because I've experienced it, I can see when people are in pain and they don't tell me. And I'm like,
Mm.
there's something
Wow.
there.
And
Something
that makes you an even better coach. Wow. And so tell me a little bit about how do you encourage entrepreneurs to integrate that self-care to take care of themselves and get them into more physical activity, even though they're busy, because we all both know that that enhances their mental and physical well-being if they do that.
Oh, yes. I mean, if you don't, you get burnout, and I've done it. But one of the things I grew up on a dairy farm. So the idea was work hard, you do
Mm.
not matter. Your physical health is second to the animals.
Wow.
Because if you don't go and take care of the animals, they die, they get hurt. That's your livelihood.
Yes.
So it was a message that was ingrained in my brain, and I didn't even realize until I was in my almost 40s. I'm
Oh.
like, wait a minute, I can pause, and my clients
Mm.
will not die. They will
Yeah.
be okay. And
Mm.
at that point, I had already put myself in the hospital twice from
Wow.
burnout. I realized at that moment it didn't matter. With communication with my client going, I need a break, I need time, I need to and that's when self-care started coming really heavily for me and going, there's warnings that happened before that. And I was ignoring them all.
Oh, wow.
I was ignoring I gave myself shingles when I was 23 years old.
What?
From overexertion, tired, exhaustion. I bought my house, working full time. I was like flipping it to get ready to live in. And I
Wow.
gave myself chills, and I'm like, oh my God, that was my first time going, slow down.
Wow, your nervous system was on the attack.
Yeah. And so now I get a cold sore. I'm like, okay, here's my first warning.
Clue, very small clue, number one.
Our bodies are amazing that way to give us those warnings.
Hmm.
Go, wait, I'm going to let you know you're pushing too hard. And now I listen. Like in my 20s and 30s, I didn't listen. I would work hard. The only way to succeed is to work hard. And that's what I help people now go, no, when you take a break, your brain actually is more it functions better.
Mm.
Get more done. You're more creative.
So you're
Mo-
giving people those like actionable cues to start to notice within themselves what are their signs for they need a break, they need to change things around, they need some self-care or a mental health break.
exactly. Because without it, the recovery gets longer and longer the more you push through. That's what I found too, is
Mm.
consequences got bigger. And my blood pressure got to a point one time that it was so high that I almost hit 200 over 170. And they're like,
Okay,
how are you
so
dead?
normal blood pressure people is 120 over 80. That sounds like almost double what normal is, and you definitely should be in the hospital if that's your blood pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I find. I'm like, if I woke up and
Wow.
I'm like, I don't, I had this noise in my head that said, if you don't go to the hospital right now, you can die. And I
Oh,
got up and I went to the hospital and they got my blood pressure down. And I was, that again, was the wake up. Like, it does not matter
hmm.
how much you push yourself. You could push yourself to the point where your body is the one that takes the damage.
Yeah, we're all human. We're not a machine or AI, We need rest.
No, that's the last times I always ask. Like when I coach the person as much as business because the a lot of business coaching certification even always focus on strategy and what we're doing and how we're doing it. And a lot of times my role with my clients is like, what is your ultimate goal for you?
Hmm.
How do you want your lifestyle to look? And so when they have this great idea, I'm like, how does that play into your lifestyle? And they're like, oh, it does not.
Hmm.
Do you want to continue the conversation? Do we want to go down and explore this path? They're like, no, I'm done. What it is all I do is hold up the mirror to remind them of what was what
Hmm.
they viewed as important at this time. And
Yes.
so mental health, lifestyle, all of that matters. And we were taught when I got into business, that was not taught. That was not encouraged. Remember the whole phase of like don't leave your life at home. Like as soon as you walk through this door, you shut it off. You are no longer a
Hmm.
human being. You are part of the company. And okay, for a lot of us, that habit has to be broken.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like it's okay to cry. It's
Hmm.
okay to feel defeated. It's okay to feel excited,
Hmm.
and to show it and to celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate even like small wins, sometimes just celebrating up. I got up, I brushed my teeth and washed my face today, that's something because there are times and maybe times in a lot of our lives where we had some difficulty just doing that, you know?
Or just the idea of asking for an extension.
Yes.
Simple
If
little
we
act.
feel stressed.
Yeah. And what it is we're honoring ourselves. And
Hmm.
that's where I've learned my success has come is honoring myself. And when I talk to my clients, I go, I don't care what your lifestyle is. That's yours.
Mm.
I'm not going to judge it at all. That's not my job. My job is to help you attain it.
Mm.
That's it. And how your business looks should be uniquely yours. And even in marketing, so I've been marketing all my life. When people are like, you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to do that, I'm like, I want to be like, why? Why? I need to know the why. If it aligns, yeah, I will go
Mhm.
towards it.
Yeah, and by helping understand their why and, putting that mirror to their face of, okay, well, why do I want this? Why is this my goal? It really puts things in perspective and may help them maybe pull back or maybe put things on overdrive or see that maybe they're overworking themselves in this moment and they need to just take a break because the why is not as important as they thought. Or maybe they'll still get to the why, but they just need to pace themselves before they burn out and not get to the why at all.
Exactly. And it's not worth it to burn out. It really isn't. Not for your family, not for your clients, nothing,
Mhm.
because you're numb at that point.
Mhm. Yes.
And I have a client right now who she's been my longest client. I've been working with her for 6 years. And she had the most successful third and fourth quarter. She had a very toxic team when I first started. Now she has this
Mhm.
amazing team. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what's going on? She goes, it's so quiet.
Awesome.
There's no like craziness going on. I'm like, you've
Intention.
hit where every entrepreneur wants to be,
Hmm.
where things are flowing so well. Now you're used to the chaos. You have to now get okay with the quiet.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, but and then going back to like, what do you want to do? And she goes, I don't know. Like her bringing a lot of her old passions back into play because she has time.
Wow.
And
That's
so I'm like,
awesome.
this is where everybody wants to get.
Yes. It feels so strange to be in that good place because if you haven't been there, don't know what it feels like.
Yeah. And when you're used to always putting out fires, it's an uncomfortable
Mm,
place.
yeah. Wow.
And sometimes we start creating it because it feels familiar. And that's what we're working on right now. It's not
Mm,
creating chaos by accident,
wow.
unintentional chaos.
That's a great point and way to look at it. It's very intentional.
Yeah. And it's just a way of processing through it. And that's what I love about the journey of life is like there's it doesn't always make sense, right? Like why would we attract what we do? But since we have, what are we going to do with it? And how are we
Yeah.
going to create the future we want and keeping that always in the end game? Like,
Yeah.
no, this is what I want. I know it right now feels awful because I'm so uncomfortable with this idea, but it's gonna be worth every minute of it. And
Awesome.
why, like you said, it has to be the main driver of why
Mm.
we're doing it.
Yes, that's important. So now, Amy, you touched a little bit about like the financial stress and talk a little bit about some of the mental and physical health things that come up when, finances are involved and what strategies do you use for your clients to help them manage and refocus things to help with their personal and their business goals?
Yeah. So when finances are a challenge and you don't, there was a point in my career during Avery's major accident that we didn't know how we were going to feed ourselves. Like, I had to like figure out. I was putting food on a credit card. I was once in a while asking for help. Like it was not easy for me to do at that time.
Mm.
But all this you don't have the money. Like people are like, oh, just go out, people like, just go out and hire a trainer, just go do this, buy organic food. And I'm like, I can barely afford noodles
Yeah.
right now.
Yes. Organic is expensive.
It's very expensive. But what I realized in that moment was I was eating my emotions. Like, and that's my go-to, right? I eat when I'm stressed. When I eat when I'm uncomfortable. And so what I started to be is more intentionally on what I was eating and when I was eating. And I needed to get that control back into my life. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I didn't get a variety of fruits and vegetables, but I did get like apples and basic, banana. Like I was going with what I could afford.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is okay right now. I'm not changing it. It's like, this is where it is. I'm
Yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also, strangely enough, just started walking. And I'm not a person who like, I get really bored walking. I get really bored working out. I am not a workout person. So I started walking in nature and it grounded me. And I
Wow.
purposely went into like the wooded areas and, we're away from all the people and the quiet and the silence. So it was a mental and a physical recharge.
Mm.
And like, I can control this. When now, when I'm in a really bad, if there's a bad financial, bad stress, I actually hire a personal trainer that I love and I go all in with him now because I need the guide. I mean, ultimately, I need the guide.
Yeah,
Because
some people need that. Yeah, and even myself, I'm in fitness, I'm a physical therapist. I love working with a trainer.
yeah, because you don't have to think about like, tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Mhm.
I love that mentality with working out where I'm like, if I had to think about myself, I started thinking about, oh, am I doing right? And I do, like, my brain just kicks on and it's like noise center
Mm.
and I cannot get it quiet. So now I know that about myself enough that I have to have that trainer go, here, and go do these 10 squats. Okay, I can do that. No big deal. Like, funny thing is, I don't even think about it. I just do it.
Yes.
And I work out, and that's the thing to learn too, is there's different personal trainers. I work out at a physical therapist company here in Minneapolis that have trainers. And whenever I have pain, he's like, okay, stop, try this. And I'm like, thank you for listening to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you for not pushing me through pain and creating
Mm.
more pain in my body.
Yeah, you need to find someone who listens and understands you, the body and you, and that combination of how to make things work when, if you have pain or discomfort and still you have a great workout.
Yeah. And then you get different pain, right? The pain of like
The good kind of pain, like you used your body, those muscles are getting stronger, things are happening.
Yeah, you should be strong pain, and it took me a while to figure out the difference.
Mm.
And I remember working out with a friend of mine who was a trainer in the gym, and she's like, just go, had a hip injury, and she's like, just push through it, and push through it. My hip injury took so long to like get better. It didn't until I stopped.
Wow.
And all I did was I went back to walking only, movement, but not,
extreme compressive pounding.
Yeah.
Inflaming the issue of the hip.
Exactly. Like it always feels swollen. Well, duh. Like I look at it now, I'm like, of course it did.
Makes in hindsight.
Yeah. And that's the thing I love about helping my clients so much is if it doesn't feel right, challenge it, think it through, and then decide, is it fear because it's too scary? Or is it fear because it's not in pain? And you should stop the activity.
Yes.
Because there's a difference. And when I started honoring that choice and that response, that's when things started to get better. That's when I started finding the right people. That's when I started finding the doctor gave me really bad advice, or I don't feel comfortable with this advice. I'm going to get a different opinion. We have the power to get a second opinion, to keep searching, to keep fighting for what we need.
Yes. I think definitely that's a good tip, like restructuring someone's way of thinking to let them know, hey, you're in charge. If this doesn't feel right, look right, question it and try something else that feels more comfortable for you.
Yeah. And the same goes for like social media. Let's say everybody's, you have to do all of these things. Some people love it. They're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So much fun. Some people are, my clients are like, oh my God, please don't ask me to do this. And I'm like, okay, we will when you're ready. And only when you're ready. We're only going to take steps that you can handle. I don't want to stress out a business owner that goes, they gave me this task. Well, I did. And I got nothing done all week. Panic. And I'm like, why would that be good?
Yes. Let's move on. Not that. Let's do something else.
When you're there all hyperventilating, you're like, no, let's step back. It's okay.
Oh my God.
Nobody needs to hyperventilate. Just not a fun thing to do.
That's good that you give people sometimes just hearing that, that you don't have to do these things. There are many ways to skin a cat is so disarming and makes someone feel more comfortable and takes the stress away.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing is you should challenge yourself to the point where it feels good. Just like a workout. You go beyond that, you're in pain for weeks, and there's just certain activities that might not be worth it. Like bowling. Like I've never been a bowler. And I like my nieces and nephews at Christmas, they're like, let's go bowling. I'm like, okay. I was in so much pain from bowling. They're like, it just really isn't worth it to me.
No. Yeah.
I need hands to use the mouse. And I'm like, it hurts so bad. Lucky to click the mouse. That to me was like, okay, it's an activity I can enjoy with them, but I don't need to bowl with them.
Yes, it doesn't need to be your hobby, it's theirs.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's what I learned about myself. And I'm like, all right. If I gave it a shot, I tried it out, hadn't bowled for 20 years. And it just wasn't my thing. And that's
Wow, giving yourself the grace to just be okay with that and just be yourself.
Yeah. And that's how I had a conversation with somebody, even we were talking about lately, like hidden desires, right? And he made a comment, and he's like, I was talking to a friend, and he's like, oh, I really want to be in a movie, but I knew it'll never happen. I'm like, no. You say, you never know what will happen. And I told him, I go, my hidden desire was so ridiculous that I was like, I didn't tell anybody what it was. And it actually happened for me.
What was it?
So, in the movies where everybody's like standing outside a club or some big event, and I have red carpet and they have a security guard, and you get this little, and then you got a couple that comes up and like, oh, yes, you can come cut the line. And I'm like, it sounded so ridiculous in my head. Like, why would I want this? But I'm a kid from Wisconsin thinking there's no way, like, just no way. And I was out in LA visiting a friend, and he was like, "Oh, I want you to meet someone. Let's go to this club." And he's a makeup artist. So 3 hours in the makeup chair, he's doing my makeup. And I'm like, Ryan, this is taking too long.
Like, what time is it? The club's gonna be closed.
I'm like,
The sun is rising soon.
I'm tired. I'm not a makeup person. I'm like, okay, I look fabulous, right? And we're going to this club, and all of a sudden I see the line around this club in LA, and it is huge. And like, it's Halloween, and I'm like, okay, we're sitting in the line forever. And he's like, oh, come on. And we got ushered in.
Nice.
And I was like,
Fabulous. In LA, that's
in LA.
top notch.
It was like, I believe it just happened. And everybody's like, my husband's like, why are you so giddy? I'm like, I don't even care. Like, it was so ecstatic. And I had such a fun night and danced. I think we danced till 2 or 3 in the morning, but
Wow.
it was so much fun. And I thought,
Yes, and they gotta come up with another secret desire and another, and just keep going.
that's where you don't have to say it out loud. Have these desires. Like, they can live in your head. That's fine. What I learned is not to think I'm not worth the secret desire. As long as I plant the seed and go, oh, that would be so much fun.
Yes, just
And let it
entertain
go.
the thought and just have it there. It's
Yeah,
something that makes you smile, and when it happens, it's great.
exactly. I never did. That was my very first time in LA too.
Wow.
I'm like,
Good.
my very first major club. I'm like, it was a lot of firsts for me. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, this just
What are
happened.
the odds? Well, you right place, right time.
Right
Come on in,
person.
Amy. Yes, yeah.
It's just
Skip the
like,
line.
I know. And I know it's it would be silly to some, but that's the idea of burning desires. They don't always have to be like owning a yacht in the Mediterranean. Like, it
It's
doesn't
very
have to be
personal. It's what
yeah,
makes us smile and giddy, and that awakens that inner child in us. Like it could be just like, they don't make my favorite candy anymore, but when I was 10, I just loved this candy, and just to go to a store that has, old candies, and just sit and just have that candy and bring back the memories of being 10 again is so valuable. But that's personal. It's the feeling is what it's equivocal. That feeling that we all get from that thing that we have, that one we want, is the same, but each what it is different, you know?
exactly. And that feeling of when you get it, it's that reward, that
Mm,
joy, right? And the same goes for business. If you're building towards something that isn't yours, even when you attain it, you don't get that sense of joy. You don't get that sense of like achievement. I built my company around my husband's skill set,
mm,
around his desires. And so when I achieved stuff, it was like, okay, it's great. Like, it never drove me
mm.
like it does now because I am living my greatest life. I'm
Nice.
living my greatest skill set of storytelling, of helping
Mm,
women find their voices, to tell a story in a way that's impactful to them as much as it is to others. And as marketing, people are always pitching something, and I'm like, cut through all the crap and do what you love. Do who you
mm.
are. Be
That's
who you are.
powerful. That's so liberating. Often it's so challenging to accept that when we hear it, and then to do it is even more difficult.
And to attain, to continue with it. You're like, "Who I did it once." Now, like my whole, I told you I like to hide. I'd be like, "Who I did it once. I want to go hide." Okay, like,
It's like,
please,
no, you're out now. They see you. It can't be a groundhog.
exactly. I didn't pop my head out and get it. Easy winter. I I constantly have to put myself in a place that's challenging, but it also is so rewarding when I do it because I want to.
Mm.
And that's the
And,
same thing with health because you want to, not because you're told you should.
ah, yes. And that's more sustainable,
It,
you
it
know?
yeah, and you get that natural high of exercising. It's the same thing in business when you have something right. It's that natural high of like, oh my God, I attained this. I can do more.
Mm,
And that's why
yes.
I think it's important to exercise, or I meditate every morning.
That's
I quiet my
awesome.
brain. I love doing that, and that's when all my creativity comes in, and I have a better day when I do it. But it's the balance. It's not even balance. It's an awareness,
Mm.
mental, physical well-being, along with your career.
Wow, they are go together very well. And if you're, physically and emotionally well, a lot of the work you do, the interactions with others, your relationships, they follow that same path because you're taking care of yourself.
Yes, and it's not always easy to do because if you grew up like me, your needs came second.
Hmm.
Didn't matter if you broke your ribs, you're down milking cows. I see my dad do it so many times. I
Oh
had
my gosh.
sprained ankles and I'm hobbling in the barn trying to do, feed the cows and pulling a wheelbarrow. And you're like, this hurts so bad. But you
You
did it.
gotta do it, duty.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's the ultimate sacrifice on a farm, right?
Yeah.
And I realized it didn't need to carry through my life. And a lot of generations have taught us that hard work equals success,
Mm,
sacrifice equals success.
hmm
And I've had to rewire my brain and my thinking,
mm.
let go of those ideas. And then there are times where they come back and I'm like, nope, I
Yes.
see
I
you.
mean, and part of it is like enjoying the process, making it enjoyable, at a pace that you feel happy about and comfortable with, and in itself is rewarding the journey,
Yeah.
not waiting for that wonderful, amazing, end of the storybook. Oh yeah, I've reached my goals, but each part of getting to your goal, really enjoying it.
Yes. Yes. The journey is worth every moment and it's worth being actively participating in the journey.
Mm.
Because, yeah, that's where you learn so much about yourself, about others, about what you're capable of, what your fears are. I mean, sometimes
Mm.
it can be a very good motivator, but it's when it's as long as it doesn't stop you from doing what you really want.
Yes.
You
Yes, that's
learn
so true.
all of that through the journey and through chaos and through trauma.
Yeah, and you come out on the stronger end. It's teaching you about how you behave when you're faced with trauma and how resilient you can be. And when you can compare yourself to how things were when you started and the challenges you had to how you're thriving, it feels great. It's a pat on your back, like, oh, I did that, and I had the courage to. So speaking of courage, you talk about aligning the three C's
Yes.
in your life and your client's life, clarity, courage, and confidence.
Yeah.
How do you help individuals create a healthier relationship with money and financial planning as well?
Yeah. So a lot of it's about mindset, right? And that starts with the clarity. And it's our limited beliefs about money. Like I was, again, being on a farm, I was taught like big business was for evil corporations and people that run them are horrible, wealthy people that, I had these ideas taught to me when I was a kid, and I couldn't get past the idea of being wealthy meant you were not a good person.
Mm,
And therefore, I could never become wealthy because I was a good person. And that's how I identified myself with. I had to rewrite that mindset of that clarity. And I had to get clarity first in understanding why that was running the show. And money is all it is a tool to get me to my best self, to allow
mm,
me to do the things I want to do, to allow me to travel the world and talk to people and give a smile. It money allowed me to go to Europe. be in a small
Mm.
little town in England in a cafe during a rainstorm waiting for Avery. And this lady goes, thank you so much. She was like 70, 80 years old. And she's like, thank you for being here today. I would have done something really, really wrong. And
Oh,
I'm grateful I've met you.
oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Without money, I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have been there for that one person who needed me that day.
Mm-hmm.
Random spot in the
Wow.
tiniest town of like 200 people.
Whoa. Unbelievable.
That's where I started realizing money is just a way for me to be a part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so then,
Mm.
therefore, I allow the money to come in.
So
Because,
you can help and impact others.
yes, with a smile. I was in Pennsylvania and I was at a gas station. Avery and I actually just had a fight in the car and we were going to New Jersey. And which we rarely fight. So it was a very odd thing for us to do. And we walked into the New Jersey, like our Pennsylvania gas station thing that was confusing to us. But we're
Mm-hmm.
walking in there and a guy was taking out the trash and working on the trash and I smiled at him. And then I was walking around trying to find food and something healthy in this gas station. And I smiled at him again and, I acknowledged it. And as I was walking, he approached me. He goes, I just have to say thank you. And I'm like,
Mm.
for what? Like, what did I do? He goes, so many people don't even acknowledge I'm here. So many
Wow.
people just see me in the background and just ignore me. And I wanted
Wow.
you to know how important your smile and your kindness meant to me today.
Mm. Wow.
And I just kind of sat there when I kind of wanted to give him a hug on top of me, like, of course I see you. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It was kind of like the picture of Obama, like, high-fiving the janitor staff, acknowledging
Mm.
they existed.
Yes. Yeah.
We're all there wanting to be seen, and a smile can make a difference. The right place,
Mm.
the right time. And without the money to be able to travel, I'm very
You
limited
wouldn't.
at who I get to interact with.
Yes. Your smile is very impactful, Amy. Wow, it's unbelievable. But at sometimes it's the sign of the time, sometimes interacting with others, smiling. I come from a culture where you greet someone the second you see them and you smile, but that may be a little bit different in, the now in terms of if you're in an elevator with a bunch of people,
Yeah,
everyone's
like get
quiet,
those
close,
days.
chatter. Okay, as far as we can get from this closed elevator, but we are together and not speak. So, I often say hello and, pleasantly people respond, but sometimes people don't respond because it's like, oh my God, why are you talking to us? We're strangers. And so it's so interesting, and sometimes you don't know what people will be receptive to, but I just be me. But it's so fascinating.
It is. It's an interesting almost experiment. Like I grew up in the Midwest where you don't really look at people's eyes. Like you don't look them in the eye. During COVID, when I couldn't smile, I had to look people in the eye because I'm like, okay, that's the only way I can communicate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I really learned how to look into somebody's face and like not talk to them like almost to the side that like I'm talking to their ear. You know? I'm like, why was I taught that way? Like how strange I had to break the habit. You
Yes,
know,
but I mean, our faces, like our eyes, even show a smile when we're smiling. So, I mean, I noticed even, with my little ones when we had the mask on, they can tell we were smiling and they'd smile back because it's just the rounding of the face against the mask and the look in the eyes of, hello, but no, it's just is so interesting. So, a smile goes a long way. And, I think we need to all just smile more. And it's very disarming, like you said, you smiled at someone and they were having, a day where they didn't feel, acknowledged or seen. And that made a huge difference. You didn't even use words, just that warm smile just gave him all those wonderful positive emotions. And that's beautiful.
yeah. And I remember, at a moment too when we talked about like what do you do to get your mental health back, right? And the idea like clarity, courage, and confidence. Courage to me is always action, and then builds confidence. And I remember the strangest thing I started doing for myself when I needed mental help. I can still do it when I need mental, like, you got this. I wink at myself in the mirror and I smile at myself. And I'm like, yeah. I did it for some reason. It makes me smile and laugh. And again, it doesn't seem so serious, right? But
Yeah.
it brings back the play a little bit more in my life. And I'm like, yep, I got this. And I just walk out of the room and I'm like, it's such a simple thing. It takes seconds.
That's funny. I do that sometimes. And it's silly, it's fun, it feels good. It's just you in the mirror and you feel like a rock star coming out of that bathroom or whatever the mirror is, you know?
You're like a little bit, it's a little ridiculous. It's a little bit fun.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
goofy.
yeah,
Yeah. Yes,
it just gives you different energy.
and it takes the weight off. You're free to just be you.
Yeah. And that's what ultimately we're all trying to just be us. We're trying to be us and be seen and be heard and be respected and to be acknowledged for what we're good at. And
Yeah.
that's the idea of clarity, courage, and confidence. It's giving back the person the power to do it themselves, and learning your triggers,
Wow.
learning how to deal with them, learning how to make decisions that sometimes are tough, but in the best interest. Because we always have to make decisions, and why not empower them?
Yeah, that's important. So, as someone who inspires many others, how do you advise your clients to balance their relationships while still pursuing their goals without sacrificing their self-care or well-being?
Yeah, sometimes it's reviewing like what isn't working anymore. So allowing more time, right? Maybe you have a toxic relationship, that a friend that is always pulling energy or taking time or bringing you down. Maybe it's time to let that relationship go, and sometimes it's not friends, sometimes it's family members. And it's a really hard thing to do and go, I love you, but I'm going to love you from afar.
Wow.
And that I've had to do that many times in my relationships, and, as friends come and go, and then realize too, friends do come and go in life. And it's okay to let them go. When Avery's car accident was happening, I had different friends for different purposes. And I never had a friend that was like, I need this person just to make me laugh. I need to laugh today. And I had this friend who was my cheerleader who's like, you got this, Amy, you can do this. And I had a different friend who was more logical and strategic and helped me see like a path. So I realized too, one person doesn't need to be everything for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of them, I had one friend who I'd work out with or go for a walk with that helped me stay on track.
Wow.
So
Grounded.
Yeah, I really learned. And then some of those people have left my life because I was over 10 years ago. Some stayed in. And I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
As I know there's more people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And that mental health of, thinking, oh my God, I don't have any friends right now. Like I'm in Minneapolis, I've been here for 5 years. And I don't have a lot of close friends like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I have friends all over the world. They're just not in my same location.
Yes. And with the way the world is now, we can reach out to someone and the lines of, location have been blurred,
Exactly.
video chatting and, talking to them. It's easier.
Yeah. I mean, and having met like medical doctors, like we have a really great physical therapist in Portugal. That was never part of my plan.
Yes.
Have an amazing masseuse in Portugal too. Like, oh my God, I love her. And I'm like, even a hairstylist, the hairstylist we've gone twice in a row, and the guy's like, you're back. And he's done my husband's hair. Like
Awesome.
that never was part of our, physical well-being. Or there's something about a great haircut too. Like my husband comes out of that, I forget his name in Portugal, but he gets out of that salon and he just changes his whole body.
The new man.
He's just like, I'm like, he's like, what? I'm like, there is something about you that's totally different. It's the way he walked and the way he holds him.
Wow.
And it's just that simple act of a good haircut. Like, it doesn't need to be massive
Yes.
for physical well-being.
That's
Good
true.
haircut can change our confidence.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's why I always encourage, find what you enjoy. If it's pedicures, if it's massages, if it's working out in the gym, then
Yeah,
honor
it's
that.
important. Yeah, that's important for all of us to find what's our thing to make sure we're taking care of ourselves and be just giving us that same good feeling, like, someone's, making us skip the line and pulling out the red carpet for us.
Exactly. And it didn't matter that I had the makeup on. It was the person I was with, right? I mean, it just helped me feel fabulous that night because I had all makeup
Yes.
on.
Yes. Awesome. So
Yes.
Amy, what's new for you in the new year? Any projects you're working on? Any new techniques? So what's coming up this year?
Yeah, so I'm starting a mindset series, which is going around a few different books. So it's about money, our limited, how we limit ourselves. And so that's kind of like a big group coaching program where we're going to go through and really start putting the activities in because absolutely hate book groups where you just read it and you never apply. That's the first part to me is the action. Like you have to do something. You don't like it, that's okay. That's also doing it and accepting it. Like, I don't want to do this. You have to start to apply things in our lives to make change. So that's one thing that I'm putting together. The other thing I really strongly believe is revenue is the lifeblood of a business. You have revenue, you don't have a business. You're operating on limited resources, limited time, limited staff. And so me and two other coaches started something called the GPS Collective. And we're all different. Like I'm more in the mindset and the business coaching. I have a funnel expert out of Spain. He's excellent and loves marketing strategy. And I have the other coach is Lena, and she helps people with sales. She loves sales and she loves how sales interacts with everything else. And over 20 years, that's the thing that most people will avoid first is sales. The act of going out there, putting yourself out there, selling yourself, selling business, selling whatever you need to do to make that money is a scary thing. And so we're working on, yes, can be, and working on how you bring that revenue back into your business through stable operations and how it supports revenue and revenue supports operations. So
amazing.
Yeah, I'm really
good luck with that. That sounds so exciting and so helpful, especially the actionable part. Because a lot of times, you read things, say, oh, well, that's a good idea. But sometimes you need that person or that team of people to kind of help you put, the pen to paper and really, incorporate some of those things for you.
Yeah, because I can tell you marketing theory all day long. And it's a complete waste of time because you don't know what to do with it unless you're in marketing.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. That's so useful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. Where can people find more information about you and your services?
Yeah, so my website with my company name is New Fire Collective. It's NU, like my last name, and then fire. So it's kind of like reigniting the fire within you, the Fire Collective. And I have it as collective because we're all working together. It should be synergy. And so newfirecollective.com is my website, and that'll have all my programs and my ideas and the new things I'm creating and people I value and honor.
Wow. Thank you so much, Amy. And if anyone's looking for this podcast recording, you can go to mobilityhealthphysicaltherapy.com for this recording with Amy. Thank you. What a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a wonderful conversation.
You're welcome.
That's all for this episode. May this discussion full of actionable tips and valuable advice guide you towards better possibilities in your personal and professional life. Continue your journey of unlocking your fullest potential by listening to more episodes of the podcast at mobilityhealthpt.com. Achieving stronger relationships, securing a thriving career, and embracing a healthier lifestyle may be daunting at first, but it is not impossible. you have the power to unleash the best version of you today. Until next time.